Think about the biggest sports shockers in history. You think you've seen it all, right? Last night, inside a packed stadium in Houston, the script wasn't just flipped. It was completely shredded and burned. Group K of the 2026 World Cup kicked off, and the entire planet expected an absolute slaughter. Portugal, a global powerhouse packed with elite athletes, squared off against DR Congo, a team that hadn't stepped foot on a World Cup pitch in over 50 years. On paper, this match wasn't supposed to be a contest. Vegas had Portugal as massive untouchable favorites. Fans were betting on how many goals Cristiano Ronaldo would score, not if they would win. On one side, you had a roster so deep it could make elite clubs jealous. On the other, the Leopards of DR Congo, who fought through brutal African playoffs just to sneak into this tournament. But football doesn't care about paper. What happened next left a permanent scar on Portugal. The match began with intense emotional weight. Portugal stepped onto the pitch carrying a heavy burden, wearing black armbands as a silent tribute to the late Diogo Jota. For the first few moments, it looked like the pundits were right. Portugal looked utterly untouchable, moving the ball with arrogant precision. Barely 6 minutes in, Pedro Neto whips an absolute inch-perfect cross into the penalty box. Sliding right through the defense is 19-year-old midfielder João Neves. A tragic tribute. Neves times his run flawlessly. He rises into the Texas air and glances a brilliant, looping header right past the desperate outstretched arms of the Congolese keeper. 1-0 Portugal. Neves turns and points directly to the heavens, a poignant nod to Jota. The stadium erupts as he becomes the third youngest Portuguese goalscorer in World Cup history. Portugal was dominating 79% of the ball. It felt like a rout. But right there, they made a fatal mistake. A tragic tribute. Neves times his run flawlessly. He rises into the Texas air and glances a brilliant, looping header right past the desperate outstretched arms of the Congolese keeper. 1-0 Portugal. Neves turns and points directly to the heavens, a poignant nod to Jota. The stadium erupts as he becomes the third youngest Portuguese goalscorer in World Cup history. Portugal was dominating 79% of the ball. It felt like a rout. But right there, they made a fatal mistake. Bedlam in Houston. As the clock ticked down into first half stoppage time, Portugal just wanted to get to the locker room and coast. But DR Congo was waiting for one specific golden opportunity. In the 5th minute of added time, it happened. Masuaku grabbed the ball, looked into the box, and delivered a wicked cross. The Portuguese center-backs completely lost their positioning, and ghosting in at the back post, completely unmarked, was Newcastle's Yoane Wissa.
Time seemed to freeze as Wissa rose. He met the ball with ferocious power, sending a bullet header straight into the top corner. Goal. The stadium absolutely detonated. The DR Congo bench emptied. Players ran to the corner dancing and crying. It wasn't just an equalizer. It was the first ever World Cup goal scored by the Democratic Republic of Congo in their history. The halftime whistle blew seconds later. The Giants had been struck back. The second half was pure, unadulterated chaos. Portugal came out like a team possessed, desperate to reclaim their dignity. In the 55th minute, we almost witnessed the goal of the century. João Cancelo drives forward, launches his body into the air, and executes a breathtaking bicycle kick. The connection is pure, screaming into the back of the net. The fans go wild. But wait, the linesman's flag is up. After a tense VR review, the goal is disallowed for offside. Inches from disaster. Portugal's momentary ecstasy turns into sheer frustration. And just a few minutes later, the shock almost doubled. DR Congo breaks on a lightning-fast counterattack. Cedric Bakambu finds a pocket of space on the edge of the area and unleashes a vicious low drive that beats the keeper completely and clangs violently off the right post. A matter of inches. Portugal was a fraction of an inch away from falling completely behind to the massive underdogs. As the minutes bled away, all eyes turned to Cristiano Ronaldo. At 41 years old, he became the oldest outfield player to ever start a World Cup match. But the legendary forward looked completely isolated and deeply frustrated. In the 68th minute, a low cross finds Ronaldo at the near post. The entire world waits for the net to bulge. He strikes it, and it goes wide. Ronaldo puts his hands on his head, staring at the sky in disbelief. 10 straight major games without a goal. Final minutes weren't football, they were a brutal war of attrition. Portugal completely lost their composure under the humid Texas sky. Nelson Semedo got booked for brutally hauling down Wissa on a dangerous counterattack. As the match entered stoppage time, Bruno Fernandes stepped up to deliver a late floating free kick into the box, one final chance to save face. Ronaldo jumps, but the Congolese keeper flies off his line, plucking the ball safely out of the air. Tomas Araujo rushes in with sheer frustration, brutally clotheslining Wissa to pick up another yellow card. But Portugal has run out of time. The referee blows the whistle 3 times. Full time. Portugal 1, DR Congo 1. The Leopards collapse to their knees, crying and hugging, celebrating their first ever World Cup point. For Portugal, this draw is a catastrophe. A front line of billionaires could only muster a single shot on target. The beautiful game never ceases to amaze.